A very good morning to you, Reverend Frank Chikane. We are going to talk about your hashtag Remember Me campaign, and we're also going to talk about the elections yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So, good morning to you. Lovely talking with you again. What is this all about? Hashtag Remember Me campaign.
Yeah, good morning and good morning to your listeners. This is about Kagiso Trust. You may know that I'm part of the trustees of Kagiso Trust. At one stage, after the announcement of the election, the trust decided it must be part of the process to educate South Africans about the elections and the importance of voting as citizens. And because Kagiso Trust has a history of people who were involved in the struggle, who set up the trust to take care of victims of apartheid and support them in their resistance against the apartheid system, we celebrated 1994 as we got our freedom, the right to vote, which we did not have. And that's why it was felt, 30 years later, we should have this campaign that says, hashtag Remember Me. And it features all the people who are involved with Kagiso Trust in that process to say to people, remember that people died for us to have this right to vote. Remember, people suffered, people spent many years in jail, people were tortured for us to get this right. We fought for it. Now that we have it, we should not take it for granted. We should not treat it lightly, that it's something you can choose not to do, because it is a right for all South Africans 18 years and older to exercise the right to make sure that the people who govern us account to us as voters, and that we make sure that they do account. We also have to participate on the ground. Remember me in that struggle is that we also have to be involved on the ground to be able to make sure that communities access the rights that they have. This is the one country where we have got the right policies, we've got the rights guaranteed. We have got all sorts of services available to the indigent people in the country. We've got grants. Some people just don't have a document to go and get a grant. We should assist them to make sure that they do that. And then, of course, there's the development side of it to empower people to take care of themselves. And I think that's what we need to remember, that the people who were engaged in the struggle had no government at that time, by the way. They were actually dealing with the challenges that people were facing on the ground and resisting the system. This time, we don't have to resist any system. We should resist, of course, corruption and misbehavior and people who fail to deliver. That's our responsibility to make sure that we make them accountable. This is what this campaign is about. It's educational, and we are appealing to every citizen who has the right to vote and has registered to vote to go and vote. Today for special votes and tomorrow for the rest of the country.
So, Reverend, you talk about the Remember Me campaign, and this, of course, was initiated by the Kagiso Trust. I'm kind of wondering, leading up to these elections, we have come across a lot of reports regarding voter apathy, and it could be it probably is due to a whole host of issues. It could be because we feel, or some certain people feel, that there's no real leadership in this country, that corruption is absolutely rife. And what's the point of voting? Because the feeling is that they might just get more of the same old, same old. Do you think that these current elections are that important to turn the tide in the favor of the country, to make people more accountable? And the ANC, it has been predicted that the ANC is not going to get the majority vote, that is going to be a wake-up call for the politicians within the ANC structures.
Yeah, no, I don't want to get into the area where I will be seen to be campaigning. But I mean, all these statistics and analysis, this is not perfect science. And the people are going to prove what the real story is going to be tomorrow. I would like to say from what you have said that people say there's no leadership in this country. We do have leadership in this country. And we actually have the best brains and etc. you can find. Even people who are complaining are supposed to be part of that leadership to make sure that this country becomes what it is about. But I think we shouldn't, because of what happened in the last few years, we shouldn't then give up, because quite clearly from the Nugent Commission, from the Zondo Commission, clearly there were people who captured the state and made sure that even the governing party is captured, to make sure that they serve other interests other than the interests of the people. But we've made progress now. We've had commissions, we've got reports of those commissions. It took time to begin to arrest people, but we can see now people are being arrested even at the top level to make sure they account for what they did. We are collecting back the money which they stole in the billions as we speak. I happen to be in another assignment where I deal with issues of integrity on individual leaders. I think we must say that in the last 5 years or so, we have been able to turn the tide, but the damage is deep. So we need leaders who are going to make sure we complete that journey of cleaning the systems. That we started from the police, the prosecution authority. We even dealt with judges who had taken over, captured to serve those types of interests. The government is trying to clean hard. The intelligence services, you can see good policemen in the Western Cape. Intelligence officers being killed because they are cleaning the system. So we shouldn't, in the midst of this war against this criminality, corruption, etc., give up and say, I'm not going to vote because of what happened. It's part of the struggle we waged before 94, and we've got a new struggle now to make sure that we get rid of corruption, corrupt police, corrupt prosecution officers, corrupt judges, everybody. We clean it so that the government can serve the interests of the people. That's where I stand, and that's why I'm going to vote tomorrow to continue with this project, to make sure that the government of this country serves its people rather than individuals who can go in there for their own purposes.
Okay, please may I ask you to just bear with us. We need to go for our first ad break. I'm talking with Reverend Frank Chikane, and he is talking about the Remember Me campaign. Please do stay with us.
Contact Lenasia Livestock and Poultry for all your sadaqah, akika and kurbani requirements. We offer clean, hygienic abattoir style and refrigeration facilities. Sheep, goat and cows are available at competitive market-related prices, direct to the public. We slaughter, slice and distribute on your behalf. But that's not all. Introducing Meat Masters Halal Butchery, our sister company situated on our farm in Lenasia. Unbeatable prices on lamb, beef and chicken. Lenasia Livestock and Poultry. Livestock is our business. We are Sanha approved. Telephone 011 857 1774. Call now.
You know, it's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
Elections are near. 2024 is a time to feel the Al Jama'ah effect. Presently, our country faces challenges with corruption and crime being rife, poor service delivery, load shedding, and high unemployment. Al Jama'ah is a platform that unifies communities and provides safety, dignity, honor, and protection to all. We believe in a South Africa where every citizen is employed and where leaders serve the people. You have the power to vote and shape the future. Join the Al Jama'ah effect and let's shape a brighter South Africa together. It is your right to vote. Vote Al Jama'ah. This advert was paid for by their political party.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042-203-1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Valley's Motor Spares. We supply motor spares and accessories for all makes and models of motor cars, LDVs, bakkies, trucks, and earth-moving equipment. We deliver on time, every time. Please contact us via WhatsApp on 014-592-0925 or call 014-592-0925 or visit 28 Zenderling Street, Rustenburg. Remember the name, Valley's Motor Spares.
Celebrate the spirit of Gurbani with Penny Appeal South Africa. Join us in honoring this prophetic tradition by donating your Gurbani and allow us to reach thousands in need. Make a meaningful impact with South African Gurbani at 2,200 Rand and Malawi Gurbani at 950 Rand. Donate online at www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 11 00 573. Penny Appeal South Africa. Small change, big difference.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
Welcome back. It is exactly 8:30 a.m. I am talking with Reverend Frank Chikane, and we are looking at the Remember Me campaign. Reverend, where was this? We know that it's a hashtag campaign, and was there any way for you to be able to monitor the amount of people that have actually tapped into this campaign and the understanding of what the campaign is targeting, and if the campaign does and is able to get a very, very salient message across to one and all?
Yeah, I mean, based on my experience and responses of people, clearly it has reached quotas where I never thought it would reach. But if you want statistical analysis, Our team is there at Kagiso Trust, and we can link you up with them, and they will give you the exact statistics, the reach, the effect, the impact, etc. I don't have it as I'm speaking now, but indeed it has reached many people. I mean, when it went live, I got people talking to me before I was even aware that it's now live at that particular time in the day when it became live. So indeed, it's reaching many people. We are hoping, especially young people, we are hoping that more and more young people will take responsibility. I just want to say to you that people think some of us got involved in the struggle when we were 50 years, 60 years old, because they think we are old. But actually, we started when we were at secondary school. I was at secondary school 1968, leading the student Christian movement 1969. And at the high school in Orlando High, where we had to deal with the issues of discrimination and etc., racism, and at the university. So, I mean, we were like 17 and 27 when I went to jail. Many of the people who died between the age of, 27, 30, 31. Biko was 31 when he died. Mapetla was 27. And I can go on and on. Bishop Mpumlwana was banned when he was 21 years old. And people think this is an old person's thing. It's young people who have to cause the change. And I think our young people must stop complaining and take responsibility and say, what are we going to do about this? Let me just make an example which hurt me this last week. It's the story about a place where there was no water. And there's this woman, old woman, who has been amputated in her leg and is walking on a crutch and is carrying a bucket to go and collect water in these water tanks that were brought in the township. And she says, I have nobody to help me. And I say, but where are the neighbors? Where is the community? Where are the young people there? Where are the social workers? I asked myself that question. Where I was in Maneji as a pastor, we said we're going to make sure that nobody sleeps without food in those 4 wards in which we were working. I mean, the community can do something. So we need young people who will say, we're not just going to complain. If we complained and did nothing, they wouldn't be free today. They won't be able to be black children, go to vets or UCT. Now they do, because we pay the price. And that's really the issue about Remember Me. And it's not just remember the past, but know that you can do it. And so they need to go and vote tomorrow. And then take responsibility to make sure the people they vote for account, rather than wait for them to deliver without their participation.
I go back to the youth and how apathetic they are regarding voting, and even the issue around, you've just highlighted something pretty important regarding the amputee who was struggling to get water for her household. And the question you asked, where are the young people? Where are the neighbors? Where's this village where we often, that beautiful African proverb, which states that it takes a village to raise a child. What's happened to that concept? Because if that was still alive in our hearts and in our minds, and we carried through our daily lives, we wouldn't have half the problems we're faced with today. And then I go back to youth apathy. It's almost as if I'm not interested in putting a hand out to anybody to help them up because no one's helping me and I don't have a job. So it's government's duty to fix all the wrongs in society. And I think the youth and we as well forget that we need to be the catalyst for change. We need to, in our small ways, start creating an environment where youth can start mobilizing and be creative and start creating opportunities for themselves. I know it's difficult, it's easier said than done. But I think that we need to put an end to the apathy, and the other issue is the crime. It seems as if youth are turning to crime, horrendous levels of crime, and we need to address all of those situations. And I'm hoping these elections is going to turn the tide. I'm praying that it will, but I'm not sure if it's going to do it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, man, I think we must go on a huge campaign, actually, as we did in the past. I think what you've just said now paints the picture quite clearly. That we have got citizens today who believe that the government must do everything for them, and secondly, that it is about them rather than the community. So it's not about their neighbor. It's not about this old woman who's amputated. It is about themselves. Does it benefit me? So we are inward looking rather than outward looking. And I think we need to change that perspective of life as a philosophy, that we are here not just about ourselves, but we belong to a community, we belong to a village, we belong to a country, we belong to the world. That's why we are taking on the issues of Palestine, for instance, because we belong to that world. Otherwise, we would be just quiet here, leave the Palestinians to die alone. I mean, in the last 2 days, the Israelis did a terrible thing, attacked the refugee camp, and fire started, people died. Why should I watch that and say, no, but it doesn't affect me? I'm worried about my hunger or, I don't have transport, etc. No. When we took on the system, we were poor, we had nothing. And I don't want to talk about our families, where we came from, some of us. It was not privileged position. It was the very fact that we are disadvantaged, and we must deal with that. So the young people today need to say, because government is not a fly alone, it's an object in the space, and you are hoping they land and help you. No, we create government. We must make them accountable in terms of the Constitution. We must participate in making sure that it is done. And as I was saying, we did this pilot study in Soweto, where we said, when we find a person hungry, the local congregation can collect money to help the hungry person before you even bring government into it. I mean, we've got churches all over, mosques and temples. We should not have people dying of hunger when we are there. And we need to get our young people participate in that, be part of these communities. And when they are there, they will know how they make the government accountable. You can't make it accountable by sitting at home. I think I'm convinced we need a campaign. That's really what we need. And after that, tomorrow, the best way is to get on a campaign to make sure people of this country participate in determining their destiny.
So finally, Reverend, let me ask you this question. We do know there seems to be a culture of entitlement with a lot of the young people. We're finding more and more young girls are falling pregnant simply because they're wanting to access that grant, the child grant. and they don't apply their minds further than that issue. How much is that going to, that grant doesn't even feed a single person for the entire month. And yet the thinking of these young girls and young people is that if I fall pregnant, I can qualify for the grant and I'd be able to do with the money, with I can do what I please with that money. And that's very, very narrow-minded thinking, because they don't think about the future. They don't think about this little life that they're going to give birth to, and that they are going to be responsible for that life, and to make sure that that life, that little child's future, lies in their hands. So we need to shift from that thinking. And I'm kind of wondering, did government really apply its mind when they introduced this child grant? I think we need to start shifting our thinking so we make young people more responsible and more accountable. That's the one part of my final question and comments to you. The other part is religious organizations, and I'm very aware that there are many, many Muslim organizations in this country that are doing amazing upliftment work, you know, food parcels, and a whole host more. They're even upskilling young people so that the young people can become independent, employable, and make a meaningful contribution not only to their own lives but to the country as a whole. So, apart from the numerous Muslim organizations in the country doing upliftment work, I have no doubt there are many other faith-based organizations as well. And I'm kind of wondering, does that not further the culture of entitlement?
Yeah, no, ma'am. Let me just say, I should start with the girl because I'll be stoned if I talked about that. So let me just say,
I'll protect you, don't worry.
Yeah, no. If I talked about it, I'll be stoned. I want to say that I was part of those who developed those policies. I was in government. And I must say, even when I was outside of government, this 350 they are giving people now, we discussed it in my house here with various people and with the Council of Churches and other faith groups. And we then made a presentation to government during the COVID period. Of course, we asked for a bigger amount of money than what they are giving them. And the issue about the grant is that, firstly, it takes care of those people who can't take care of themselves. If you are with disability, you are aged, and you can't help yourself. So we have to do, this welfare activity, community service for those people. Then there's the other group of people who are the young girl you are talking about, the young boy, the young people, not the young boy, the young people who are unemployed and they needed help during COVID. We did that. The grants are a rescue operation to give people space to find ways of surviving on their own. That's what they are all. It's almost like an emergency service. And I just want to say that it's not the end in it. It's not the ultimate. Grants will come to an end one day, but people must be able to take care of themselves. That's why it is important for people to find a way of surviving. I had parents who didn't even know where the university was and how to apply to get there. There was no money at home to take me to the university, but I still went there. I looked for bursaries. I found my way, applied, got teachers to help me. The community is there to help, even when your parents can't do it. So I think the point I am making is that for me, the grants are more about creating space for people. Let me just say, we shouldn't undermine them, because in the rural areas where ancestral family is. When you go there, they tell you the house where there is a pensioner who gets a grant lives a better life than others who don't in that situation. So we shouldn't take it lightly, but it's for those who can help themselves. Those who can help themselves, it's temporary, it's emergency for them to find a way in which we should. Now, I've forgotten the first question you asked.
Okay, we do have to wrap up now, so I think we're going to have to save that question for another time.
Yeah.
Point taken,
Okay.
Reverend, point taken. When I raised the issue of the grant, it was really from the point of view to perhaps stem the tide of teenage pregnancies, not for aged people, not for sickly, not for the indigent, really about perhaps if we, tone down the grants, the childcare grants, maybe that is one way of stemming this huge problem we're sitting with in the country regarding teenage pregnancies. But unfortunately,
Of entitlement. Yeah.
Yes, we have to wrap up, and I do look forward to chatting with you post the elections. We can pick up on this issue and lots more post the election. So thank you indeed for your time. Always a pleasure talking with you. God bless and go well.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
8:47 News and Views on Salam Media. Please do keep us company for the rest of the time we're here with you. Lots of interesting discussions coming your way.